I'm Emily. A few months ago, I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, and I'm keeping this video journal as a way of capturing the treatment process as I go through it to try and manage this condition. So in this video, I'm going to talk about my experience of podiatry input so far. So podiatry, or chiropody as it's also known, is concerned with foot health and the health of the lower limbs, and that can be really important in rheumatoid arthritis and other forms of inflammatory arthritis. So I didn't know what to expect when I was referred to podiatry. So I'm making this video in the hope that it might be helpful for other people in that position. So if you're interested in knowing more about what kind of support and input is available beyond medication for rheumatoid arthritis, or if you've got an assessment coming up and you're not sure what to expect, or you're thinking about what kinds of questions you might want to ask, I hope this video is going to be helpful for you. So just a little disclaimer before I go any further. I'm not a qualified medical professional or a podiatrist myself, so all I can give you here is the patient's eye view, if you like, of the process. But as I say, I hope that will be helpful if you're in a similar position to me. Let me start by saying a little bit about the kinds of symptoms I was having that led me to be referred for podiatry input, in case you recognise any of these yourself. So I was referred to the podiatrist by my physiotherapist, and that was because I was having difficulty with my feet, and in particular with walking at the time, and she thought that having a fuller specialist assessment might be helpful for me. And the kinds of difficulties I was having was pain and swelling in the feet, in the joints of the toes and in the ankles, quite significant swelling. I had a feeling when walking, I often had a feeling of misalignment in my feet, which is a very strange sensation I'd never had before. Which felt as though the bones or the tendons were somehow out of place, or I couldn't make a normal walking motion with my feet. And also, particularly first thing in the morning, which is when the symptoms of rheumatoid arthritis are often at their worst. Even when I was walking around at home on a kind of soft carpeted floor, I'd have a sensation as though I were walking on a pebble beach or something, so it's really quite uncomfortable. And the other thing that was causing difficulties with my walking is that my joints in my legs would often give way for no apparent reason when I was walking along. So my joints were quite unstable, and that would make me limp. So especially my ankles and my knees, they were quite painful. And for all of those reasons, my walking became much more difficult, much more painful, slower, and I just couldn't walk as far. So it was having quite a significant impact on me day to day. Some people have other kinds of difficulties with their feet as well in the context of inflammatory arthritis, but those were the issues I was having. So coming on to the assessment itself, as preparation for the assessment, I got a letter beforehand, and I was asked to bring a list of my medications, a few pairs of shoes that I wear regularly to the appointment, and also to wear shorts or trousers that could be rolled up to the knee, and that helps them to easily examine the alignment of your leg and feet, kind of when you're still and in motion. So that was the preparation that I was asked to do as well. So I've got some notes here. So just to try and make sure I don't forget anything, let me run through the main part of the assessment that I can remember. So it began with the podiatrist taking some basic background details about all of the medications I take, any other health conditions, and the nature of the difficulties that I was having with my feet and with my walking, to get a kind of picture of what was happening at this stage, as you'd expect. Then there was a kind of examination of my feet and ankles and lower legs when I was both in a sitting position and in a standing position, because there can be differences in the structure of how you hold your foot and how it aligns with the ankle when you're weight bearing and when you're not. So that was examined, kind of looking at the front and the back of the foot and the sides. Uh, then there was a biomechanical assessment, so looking at the feet in motion, and for that I had to walk barefoot up and down the corridor a couple of times, which at the time was painfully slowly, just to see how I was walking. And there, the podiatrist kind of fed back to me about his observation of my gait, pace of walking, and the kind of how I was moving my feet as I was walking. So usually you would have a heel strike, but in my case, because I was taking such short, slow paces, it was more of a shuffle really. And then following that, there was a further examination of my feet and ankles for things like swelling, areas of tenderness, areas of pain, and I was asked to rate how much pain I typically experience in my feet. And the podiatrist also asked me about my current activity levels and exercise that I was able to do and what I would normally be doing that I'm not able to do, to get a sense of the functional impairment associated with these difficulties. So those were the main assessments that I had. Quite low tech, actually. I must admit, I'd imagined I might be walking up and down on a treadmill and having assessments of kind of pressure in different areas of the feet and things like that. That didn't happen at all. That might be appropriate for other people, but it wasn't necessary for my assessment. And some people might require scans or more in-depth assessment using ultrasound or something like that. I know that can be part of a podiatry assessment, but that wasn't necessary for me. So in terms of the outcome of the assessment, I'll go through this briefly because obviously this just applies to me, but to give you a sense of what might come out of an assessment. So first of all, there are the podiatrist didn't observe what he called deformities, and this is a podiatry term. And what that really means is that the bone structure of my feet and joints hasn't been permanently affected by rheumatoid arthritis at this stage. So my joints are overall aligned well. So that was very good news. Although I do have a low arch to my foot, which can be caused by rheumatoid arthritis. So there's that. So he concluded that the main issues that I'm having with my feet are mostly a function of the inflammation due to the rheumatoid arthritis itself. So the main therapeutic approach that's needed in that case is for the medications to start working. So that was the first priority. It was still very early days for me at that point. So he felt the best thing for my feet would be to get the inflammation under control with medication. However, he did give me, to help with the low arch and to encourage a good foot posture now, while the medications are doing their job and kind of kicking in, he gave me a pair of orthotic insoles to wear in my feet, in my shoes, which were very helpful. So here they are. Here's one of them. So you can, maybe it's better to show this side. So you can see that at the arch, there's it's raised at the arch to give support at the arch, and there's also, it's like a cradle around the heel, so it gives good support around the heel as well, and also around the toes. There's a little bit of support here as well. So I found this very useful. So they have been really good. And then he gave me feedback on what he thought of my shoes that I've been wearing, whether they're good for my feet at the moment, or, you know, what to consider. So I thought I would share that as well, just in case there are some factors that might also be useful that you might apply to your own footwear. So the first pair of shoes, I'll do these in reverse order. So he gave them scores. So this pair of boots was the first. I don't know if you can see those very well. They're a bit dark. Let me just get one of them. So these are kind of slouchy ankle boots here. These he scored a 5. These got a 5 out of 10. And the reason for that were they have low heels, which is a good thing. They have firm toes and some reinforcement at the heels, so a degree of support there. And they're quite wide. I don't know if you can see. They're quite wide across the feet, so plenty of... These don't show up very well, do they? So maybe that's better. So they're quite wide across the widest part of the feet. So there's space for the feet, But on the downside, the toes you can see are slightly almond-toed, so they don't follow the shape of an actual foot that closely. So they narrow a little bit at the toe, and there isn't really any support in these ankles because they're a slouchy style. So they got a 5 out of 10. The next pair of boots I took, or the next pair of shoes, another pair of boots, were these ones. So a pair of, these are kind of like a pair of walking style boots. So these got a 7 out of 10 from the podiatrist. He liked these more, and you can see they've got low heels, so it's just about an inch or something like that. They're really supportive inside. They've got a padded insole, so that absorbs shock. They're really comfortable to wear. The toes are a bit more rounded here, so there's lots of space here for the feet, and they kind of flex quite well. They're kind of supportive but move well with the feet. And because they lace up, you can adjust them to your feet. So if you have swelling, you can loosen them. If you don't have swelling, you can make them firmer, and that way they can give much more support to the feet and to the ankles as well. So they got 7 out of 10. And finally, were my regular walking boots, and these got a 9 out of 10. So these were he rated these highly, and so similar advantages to the previous boot, but kind of even more. So they've got reinforcement around the toes, they've got reinforcement around the heels, so they're really supported. The mesh upper is breathable, so that's really good for the feet. Really solid soles, so again really supportive to the foot, and they're molded to support the arch. They lace up, so you can make them as tight or loose as you want, and they've got padding around the ankle that you can make as firm as you need them to be supportive. So these are a really good pair of boots for where my feet are at the moment, according to the podiatrist. So those were the ones I got rated. I realised that they're actually all boots. So sorry if you're somewhere where the weather is warmer and you wouldn't be wearing boots at the moment. It's winter here in the UK, so that's why I took those boots with me. I might need to follow up in 6 months or so and get some advice on shoes and sliders and things like this. But yeah, for now, some boots. But he did say, as a general kind of rule of thumb, what he said to me is that actually the best kind of shoes for the rheumatoid foot, unless there are kind of special support requirements or anything, are running trainers, because they are designed to absorb shock and to support the foot, to move biomechanically as efficiently as possible. So he actually recommended using running shoes as everyday shoes for everyday wear. So these are my old running shoes, which are not getting any use at the moment in terms of exercise, unfortunately. So these may be I may be reviving these as everyday shoes at the moment. But I have found the inner soles very comfortable to wear, and I do feel that my feet are more supported just in these regular shoes that I've been wearing at the moment. So that was the advice I was given. That's what came out of my assessment. I hope that was useful to kind of hear about. If you're interested in reading more about podiatry, or how the feet and lower limbs can be affected in rheumatoid arthritis or inflammatory arthritis more generally, I've put some links to more information in the description box below this video, so please do have a look if that might be helpful for you. If you have any questions, or if you have any experiences of podiatry that you'd like to share, please do let me know. Please add a comment, and I will see you in the next video.